Welcome to another episode of New to Me. I'm Stephen Michael Zack, and today we're taking a look at the brand new DJI Osmo Action.
Cam, the most awesomest cam that was ever made. The Osmo Action Cam kicks GoPros butt every time. What can it do? Day hiking, rock climbing, tractor wrestling, idol stealing, gator picks. The the most awesomest cam that was ever made. The Osmo Action Cam kicks GoPros butt every time. Osmo wins. The Osmo Action Cam, the Fresh Maker.
Okay, so let's talk about what's in the box. First off, you get, of course, your instructions and serial stuff. And then, of course, you get a USB Type-C. Awesome. Then you get these two little GoPro mounts. Now, this does run on the GoPro system, which is awesome. And you'll get this kind of funky 3M sticky here, and then this round one like that. And it does come with a pin for your for this one here, which is very cool. Let's talk about this little case. It is very interesting because when you open this up, it is a battery holder. And it does have a really odd smell, probably because it's right from the factory, hot off the presses. It has that very lovely new battery smell. Just kidding. So anyway, there is a little bit of an odor. I'm sure that'll go away. Now, one thing I do want to show you inside the case is it does have this little thing here for a micro SD card. But I would never put a USB card in here because it is not padded. And as you can kind of see, it is sharp. And I'd worry about the connectors scraping. So it is not a great design. I wish this were padded. It's a good idea, A- for effort, but I would not do this because it will destroy your SD card. But the case itself is very nice. And the battery here is also very nice. It kind of stands up by itself. And this battery will last 135 minutes at 1080p with the Rocksteady, which is their image stabilization off. Think about half that 4K running with Rocksteady. Let's talk about the camera and the case. Of course, it is the GoPro system, and the first thing I don't like is the fact that you have to take the filter here off in order to get the camera out, which is a huge pain. Now, you can get it out with the filter on, but it is difficult, and I do worry about pulling on this and scratching it. So that I don't like so much. It seems like an unnecessary step. Hopefully somebody will make a case where you can skip that and just pull it in and out. Let's talk about the case. It is rock solid. I love this case. It is fantastic. It is the GoPro system, but it also has these very nice rubber tactile buttons on top. It's not just a hole with a button sticking through and you gotta kind of get your fingers in and press it. And of course there is a hole on the bottom here. There is a button on the side here for the quick change. And of course you have a hole here for the speaker, which is very cool. So awesome, great case, very solid plastic. Let's go ahead and talk about the camera. Now, the first thing is we're going to talk about what this camera is and how much it costs. First off, it is $349.99, which is awesome. It has this beautiful 4-inch screen on the back. I'm not gonna lie, it's awesome, and you'll see it in a minute. On the front, it's got a 1.4-inch screen, which is 320 by 320, and you can actually view yourself in either 16 by 9 or 4 by 2. I will probably be using 16 by 9. This camera shoots 4K 60, and that is awesome. So if you want to get those awesome slow-mo shots, really a terrific camera. I'm so glad that we're finally getting 4K 60 on our cameras here. Now you can dip this into water in about 11 meters, which is pretty awesome. And this does shoot with MPEG-4 and MOV. I will most likely be shooting in MOV because that is what my cameras shoot. And let's talk about the color. This shoots from 200 Kelvin to 10,000 Kelvin. Why you would need 10,000 Kelvin, I have no idea, but it does it. The shutter is also awesome. It goes from a 1/240th to 1/8000th, which is really pretty cool. It has the cinema-like D profile, which means if you want to really push your image, you can. Now this is only 100 megabits per second, but for me, that's not a problem. My cameras only go up to 200 megabits per second, and usually I shoot in 100 megabits per second. So this really matches my GH4 very nicely. There's also, like I said, cinema-like D, and there's just been an update for the Pocket Osmo, and that now has cinema-like D. So if you want to use these two cameras together as an A and B camera, you can. Super awesome. Now this does have something called an HDR mode, which really pulls out the highlights and the shadows. It really makes everything look beautiful. And of course it has something called Rock Steady. Now the Rock Steady mode is their image stabilization, and people say it is gimbal-like. Everything I have seen, it is very nice. When you're running with this thing, the screen is almost not shaking at all. It is fantastic. Now, one thing, this thing also has voice activation, so you could just say, hey, start recording, and it'll start recording. And it has this snapshot mode, which allows you, if you're anywhere in the menus and you want to capture something that's happening right now, you can actually press the button, and within 2 seconds, it'll just start recording, which is very cool. This thing does time lapses, pictures, it does slow-mo. It has a 4x and 8x slow-mo in 1080p, which is super awesome. And you can save your own custom profiles. That is super, super, super awesome. So one thing to note is that when you are using Rocksteady does not work in HDR mode or in the slow-mo mode. You will have to, if you want to use Rocksteady, you'll have to be shooting in just the regular 4K profile. And I'm not sure, I don't think Cinema-like D does not work in the HDR profile. So I would just shoot 4K with Cinema-like D and, fix my image in post. So let's talk about this camera. Like I said, it is a 1.4 screen on the back and a 4-inch screen here. One thing I really love is this little filter that unscrews. They really thought about this. Now, I would love, yes, they make ND filters that screw on, but I would love to see them make something that will go on the front here, like a screw on, like something for a C-mount lens, where you could actually, screw an adapter on the front and use C-mount lenses or regular lenses. Now, there is a company that makes mods. They're probably selling a mod for this camera. Now, you could pay an exuberant amount of money and have them do it for you, or you could pay a cheap price and try to do it yourself. And that is how my 4K YEAAA died. I actually tried to mod it myself, and if you don't know enough about electronics, or if the internals are too hard to put back, you're going to destroy your camera, which is what I did. That's why this is a replacement for that one, and a very nice one at that. But I really want to see them make some kind of, even if it's just some kind of like lens you can screw on and adjust, that would be really cool. So let's go ahead and talk about the bottom of the camera. Oh, so there is a speaker and microphone here, which is very, very cool. Let's talk about the bottom. As you can see, there is no door, and this is an ingenious design because the bottom of the door is the bottom of the battery, and I really love this. It is terrific. And all I have to do is put it in, push with 2 fingers, red lights go on, and you're plugged in. Now, this thing has 2 release catches, one for the waterproof function, and also this thing is shockproof. I saw people throwing these on the ground, and it has these 2 locking tabs here, one here and one here, so that the battery doesn't come flying out when you drop this thing. So I have to just pull the tab here and pull the tab right here, and the battery pops right out. Very simple, very cool. You just have to make sure that you push in with both fingers. So that is why there's no quarter 20 on here. I would have loved a quarter 20, but I get why there's no quarter 20. Plus you have the GoPro system, so not a bad trade-off for security of the battery. Now let's talk the side of the camera. You get a speaker and a little microphone on this side, which is very cool. The whole thing has a very nice rubbery grip around it, which is very cool. Up top, you have the record button, you have your display and power button, and you also have a speaker microphone combo up here as well, which is, actually, so you have a little microphone up here and a little light indicator here. And on the side, let's talk about this side, because here's where I really am gonna get tough on this camera. This is almost a perfect action camera. This is the quick switch button to switch from the back screen to the front screen and vice versa. And then you have this button here. When you press it and you pull down, it's a door, kids. Now this thing actually broke off and I had the darndest time trying to get it back on. I finally figured out how to do it by pushing this little tab forward and pulling the top piece back and snapping it back on. But it is very difficult with my giant meaty fingers to get in there and get the SD card out. That is a huge problem. I almost wish they had put it in the battery compartment. I know people hate when they do that, but I almost wish that they had put it in the battery compartment because it'd be a hell of a lot easier to get in and out than this. So I will most likely I will have to use like a pair of tweezers or something in order to take the SD card out, which is a huge problem. Also, the USB Type-C charging is right here, so you have to be careful the cord doesn't snap off the door as well. Luckily, like I said, I was able to get the door back on, but this is kind of, I mean, in 2019, this is a big defect. You know, this is something we shouldn't see anymore. I would have loved like maybe like a rubber door that you could just peel off. I get why they did this. This is for waterproofing, but hopefully they'll redesign this. This is really my only like gripe with this camera is the fact that it has this not so good door. So let me just fire this thing up for you and you could take a look at the absolutely beautiful screen. And let's go ahead and press quick switch for a minute. And as you can see, whoosh, and I'm looking at it in 16:9. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and back to the main screen here. Whoops. And I think I just started recording. There we go, and we're on the back screen. As you can see, this thing is awesome, touch sensitive. Now, I will be going into the menu sections in another video. This video has gone entirely long enough. But with that said, here are my final thoughts. The Osmo Action is a must if you need an action camera. And it pairs very nicely, not only with my DJI Osmo 4K Pocket, but also with my GH4 cameras. I am very excited to be able to shoot in a color profile on a little tiny action camera like this. This is definitely a game changer, a GoPro killer. So recently, a 40-minute video has come out that is going to make me eat my words. It's frustrating when you've worked for 3.5 weeks on a video only to find out that you were wrong on so many levels. Of course, I am talking about the Osmo Action Cam. And the reason that this is not a GoPro killer, as I said it as it was, is because you have no control over the contrast or the exposure, and the image is very, very sharp. So until they give us a firmware update to correct this, both in regular 4K mode and HDR, then this camera is not as good as the GoPro Hero 7 Black. You just have more control. Also, I've noticed that this thing is also terrible in low light. As you can see here, I was walking through the forest vlogging, and you could see at 400 ISO around 7 o'clock at night, it is very, very grainy. So very, very sad that this isn't a GoPro killer, but I do stand behind the design of this. The front screen is wonderful. The way that the ND filters screw on is terrific. You have this very, very beautiful back screen and a very nice front screen. And of course, the case has very nice buttons. The construction is excellent. Now, if DJI would just give us a firmware update so that we can control exposure and contrast, that would make this an excellent camera and a rival of GoPro. There are a few quirks I don't like, mainly being the door here, which you can put back on. I just prefer not to have it. But all in all, I will say I would give this thing an A, not even an A minus. I can't give it an A plus, but I give it an A because it is so solid. I'm very excited to do the test videos, which are coming soon. I'm going to be breaking up most of my videos because I want to do more long form videos where I kind of show you how everything on the camera possibly works. So that's it. My final thoughts is for 350 bucks, yes, 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 yes. Actually, DJI actually has a program where you can sell them your old GoPro and they'll give you like some money towards a new one, which is very, very cool, like a recycling program. And of course, we'll drop the link in the notes below. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them there as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. I'm Stephen Michael Zack, and this is new to me.
The Osmo action cam, the most awesomest cam.